quantitative methods of the research side. So let us understand. I'll just switch off my video. So let us look at what are the general aspects which are related to the qualitative analysis. You will find many videos, you will find many contents on YouTube or other websites, but there are probably very less number of material which says what actually qualitative analysis is. Qualitative analysis is most of unstructured data. Qualitative analysis is most of unstructured data. Shalini ma'am, I'm not able to see the annotations tool in this dashboard.
Seconds, I'll just see.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
So this is most of the data which is available for the qualitative analysis, which is available for the qualitative researches is the interview transcripts, the pictures, the songs, the audio, tweets, social media. I personally restrict the analysis of audio and video. Why I personally restrict? Because when we talk about, yes ma'am.
इधर आप इसमें स्क्रीन से आपके
Yes ma'am.
Hello, Asha ma'am.
Okay, no sound. Am I audible right now?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Yeah. Those who are using their videos, please switch off their videos so that the speed of Zoom will not hamper.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello,
Yes,
sir. You're not audible clearly. I cannot hear you clearly.
Ma'am, sir is audible. Please check connections at your end. Sir is quite audible. I would request participants to please switch off the video modes because I think Zoom some
There is
problem
one
connective issue.
participant, Ashutosh Kumarji. If you can off your video, this will help everyone. Participants, can you type to the chat box like, am I audible? Am I clearly audible or not? Okay.
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely audible. Sir.
I'll just share it again. So the qualitative analysis is most of the time is about interview transcripts. I personally, I'm not able to annotate this picture.
राहुल सर एक्सक्यूज मी राहुल सर.
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
सर ये आप मैं डॉक्टर आशा चावला दिस साइड सर.
हाँ पहचान लिया मैम, बताइए.
हाँ सर, ये आपने एनोटेशन यूज करना है सर, स्लाइड शेयर से यूज कर लीजिए अपनी राइट में, लेफ्ट हैंड साइड के बॉटम में, इसी स्क्रीन पे ही, स्लाइड शो में ही राइट में बॉटम में क्लिक कीजिए. यहाँ पर आप नहीं एंड शो नहीं करना सर, नीचे इसको छोड़ दीजिए सर, इसको बिल्कुल नॉर्मल क्लिक कीजिए. हाँ इधर नीचे देखो, अब सबसे नीचे लेफ्ट में नीचे सर, नीचे दिखे आपको. हाँ और नीचे सर, और नीचे. हाँ इधर इसमें सेंटर पे क्लिक कीजिए, सेंटर में. हाँ इसमें यहाँ से पेन ले लीजिए सर, ये हाइलाइटर और पेन आपके पास सब कुछ है सर यहाँ से.
अच्छा. थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Asha ma'am. Welcome to the post-scholar workshop.
No problem, ma'am. No worries. मैंने कहा चल बता दूं, सारा टाइम में यूज हो जाएगा.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So most of the time we are using interview transcript. I personally was recommending not to use audio analysis, not to use video analysis. Why I was recommending this? Why not to use audio and video? Because we are not native English speakers. Any software will not be able to help you converting your video, converting your audio exactly as a transcription. And later on, this will be very challenging for you. We have tried this with lots of videos. We have tried this with lots of audios. Only one software, which is only one package, which is very accurate The name of the package is designers. But again, then extracting the designer is, you won't find any crack version of designer. And this one is very costlier one. So that is why I'm restricting audio and video. We are very good in English. We are Indian and we are very good in English, but our pronunciation are not exactly as theirs, as the Americans or as the Europeans. And probably this will lead us, if you are into audio and video, this will lead us a distorted transcription. This will lead us a distorted transcription, and the result of a distorted transcription is, everyone knows what is the result of a distorted transcription. When you find a distorted transcription, you forget about accuracy, forget about reliability, forget about everything. Whatever you get will be, I personally think, is a big zero, because you are leading to a distorted transcript. This is my personal suggestion. Do not use audio or video, especially from our context, especially from any context who are not native English speaker. Yes, the analysis of pictures are very good. The analysis of tweets and analysis of social media handles, they are getting very interesting, and they are converting very impressive results for us. The analysis of tweets, analysis of social media. I'll show you a few papers based on tweets and few papers based on social media. In the third half of the session, we'll be looking at tweets and social media, and then you will be able to understand how these are getting very important. Who are using tweets and social medias as their effectiveness. Let me give you some of the example of tweets. Political parties. Political parties are giving this very, very importance. Patients and family members of patients. One of the researcher has investigated the emotions, the emoticons of the family members of the patients who are the patient of Alzheimer. And you won't be able to understand, I'll not be able to tell you how impressive results are there. The usage of emoticons by the family members of a patient from Alzheimer, and by the family members of patient from cancer, and by the family member of patient from other diseases. And they find the significant differences, how they are using emoticons on social media platforms. So these are how different things which we need to understand what a qualitative analysis can do for us. The biggest thing, I belongs to both the school of thought. I have done good papers into the quantitative analysis papers, into the quantitative analysis ways, into the qualitative analysis also. But the challenge is, I can ask someone like how happy you are. Let me give you an example here. Say if a student who has just passed the 12th, who do not supposed to pass class 12th, but because of the policy from the central government, because of the policy of any state board, he has got passed, he is happy. Someone who has selected into a government job, maybe for Patwari or maybe for any other job, and someone who is appointed as an IPS, though he or she wanted to be a IAS, he is appointed as IPS. Should my very simple question, how happy you are, can I differentiate the emotions of these three, the happiness of these three? Do you understand what I'm trying to convey? One has passed only class 12th, though he is not supposed to pass. Second, appointed in a government job, a very small government job, maybe SSC, maybe through LDC, lower divisional clerk, anything. And the third one, who is appointed as an IPS, though he or she has appeared for IAS. What do you think? Can I compare their happiness? The quantitative way. With the help of quantitative way, I personally believe I cannot compare their happiness.
No.
Yes, there are several questions into the chat box. I'll try to handle one by one. Ms. Ansu is asking about, does it mean we should have interview answers in written? Yes. I personally believe one of my student and one of my collaborator and one of my co-author is participating in this workshop, she might be able to recall the incident. She asked me, sir, we have recorded the videos of interview on Zoom. So, shouldn't we transcribe those using the softwares or something? I might have allowed her, but the question is how accurate this was. I asked her, why not you observe the videos and you can type them together? I personally recommend, do not transcribe, especially from the persons, especially from the participants who do not belong to native English speaker. This will distort your transcripts. What about scales? Scales we'll discuss later. Somebody is saying not able to hear anything. Please check connection at your end. This will help you. Right. So we often rely on data collection from interviews. Like India as a country, you might be able to recall India as a country. If I ask someone, sir, can you please fill one of my questionnaire? And if he looks at the questionnaire and if he finds that there are 5, 6 questions or 10 questions, maybe 15 questions, he'll be filling it happily. But when I gives my questionnaire, sir, there are 60 questions in my questionnaire. Can you please fill this? The person will wait for like when this interviewer will leave this place, and I'll fill this questionnaire very hurried or very quickly manner so that he won't be able to see how I fill this. But India is a country of like everyone is ready for giving interview. I ask anyone. I may ask anyone, sir, I want to take one of your interview. He or she will be very readily happy. Okay, you want to take interview? When I'm interested in observation, I do not disturb my participant. I do not disturb my participant, and I want to take my data based on observations, not more than that. And content analysis of newspaper. I do not want to ask the question to anyone. I do not want to consider any interview. I do not want to consider anything. I want to analyze the contents. I want to analyze the content based on newspaper, based on books, videos, case records, and other already developed documents. So this will not be very challenging for me because I'm not disturbing anything. What I need to look for, I need to look for several books, several papers which are written only already on the say for example internal marketing. The number of papers written on job satisfaction, what are their contents? Maybe like one of the very interesting way, I'll show you how to do that. Comparing reviews. Comparing reviews on the website, from the website of Amazon, from the website of Flipkart. I'll show you how to do this. Whether they are negative reviews or whether they are positive reviews, how to do these type of activities. This will help you in understand. And one of the participants was saying like, we do this for testing hypothesis. We do not test hypothesis. Let me tell you a very clear thing. Majority of the researches which are based on qualitative methods generally are not used to test the hypothesis. They are used to develop. Hello. Most of the researches which belongs to the qualitative school of thought, they are used to develop a theory. I again apologize if I'm doing any spelling mistakes because I'm typing very fast. Generally, the methods of qualitative researches are not used to test the theory. And when you're not testing the theory, I personally think the requirement of hypothesis becomes very less, very minimum. For developing a theory, yes, I need hypothesis, but those are not very t-test based or any statistical test based hypothesis. Those are the hypotheses which are based on my opinion, my thought process, which are based on my personal beliefs. What is the difference in quantitative approach and qualitative approach? Quantitative approach believes like we should take questions from some other paper, we should take a scale from some other paper, we should take, this is what somebody was asking about a scale. We should, generally we should avoid most of the papers. If you look at very carefully, about 70% papers are actually based on, they have adopted a scale from someone else. Most of them have adopted a scale from someone else. Most of them have not adopted, have not developed their own scale. Only 30% papers, that too into the top class category journals. This is what a major difference into the qualitative approach and quantitative approach. I'm not saying that we do not test hypothesis at all. Yes, we do test, but our target is not a testing hypothesis. Our target is to develop a theories. We are not testing any previous theory. We are not saying whether the SWOT analysis work in your organization or not. We are saying whether the SWOT is most useful in your organization or SWOT, SWOT or SWOC. Most of the participants are academician here. They might be able to recall when they find their NAC visit. The first time when we were seeing our NAC visit, somebody has asked me, somebody has told me like we have to do SWOT analysis of the institution. But within a week, when I revisited the website of NAC, I find they are not asking for SWOT. They are asking for SWOC. So what is more suitable? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. They are not talking about threats, because these are the academic institutions, and academic institutions does not have any threat. Academic institutions does have challenges. So we are not testing any previous theory. What we are doing, we are just looking at which theory is more suitable at this place. We may try to develop new theories, yes, based on what happens into the specific situation. This is going to take our most of the time of the workshop, the grounded theory. This is very important. There are 3-4 words, there are 3-4 terms which are very important in this consideration. Right? I'll proceed here. So with the help of qualitative analysis, qualitative research, we do not try to generalize our findings. Yes, is there a question? Yes, there are several questions into the chat box. Okay, how we go through FGD records here. For FGD records, if you want to use FGD record, focused group discussion. So say for example, there are 3 participants. One is Rahul, second one is Shalini ma'am, third one is Vikas Arya sir. So you need to write the transcript like Rahul said this, then Vikas Arya ji has said this, then Shalini ma'am has said this, and then again, though it was a turn of Rahul, but Vikas Arya sir has intervened and discussed or instructed this. Then so for focus group discussion, focus group records, you have to keep like a verbatim, like a what should I say, like a story verbatim or something. So for FGDs, these could be the track record. Mahesh ji and Samir ji is having a question. In case of sensitive issues, respondents are not ready to record interviews. What to do in that situation? And that's a very impressive question, Samir ji. If the respondents are not ready to record, say for example, there is one government employee, and I'm asking like how Vikas Dubey has got assassinated, or maybe some other ways, and they'll say themselves, they do not want me to record. So I should be good hand into the writing verbatim when I'm recording somebody. Or the second way, you need to learn the shorthand. When I was learning qualitative analysis of researches, there is a specific book, how to handle questioning. And the book is having 7 or 8 chapters, and out of 7 or 8 chapters, for about 2 or 3 chapters are explaining how to use shorthand for interview. So you need to do this clerical job, or you can hire somebody. Like if it is a qualitative project, and if it is a project which is funded or is sponsored by ICSSR or some other organization, you need to use those type of skills like Yes, that's true. There are lots of situations when they do not, the officials do not want to, say for example, you ask anyone like how do you find your organization? I'll not say anything on record. And in fact, nobody will say anything on the record. It is not I, it is everyone. Nobody will say anything on record because this is a question of record. And if you show it to my boss or if you show it to their colleagues, they probably leave some shortcomings. Okay, Lalit is having a, can we use word preposition in place of hypothesis in qualitative research? Yes, this could be a suitable, this seems to be a suitable one, word preposition. But actually why I'm not saying 100% suitable? Because word preposition may change according to situation. So generalizability will be very difficult and will be very challenging if I say it word preposition. What to do if the sample used to given intentionally biased data? This cannot be solved. This is a problem with quantitative approach. This is a problem with qualitative approach, both. This cannot be solved. Kiran Desai ji is asking which book, sir. I'll share the details. I'll share you the details. This is just the book is just here. I'll share you the details of the book. Okay. Like nowadays, COVID cases, if you want to take data into the data cases, comes in the qualitative approach. Yes, that can be done. So in case of qualitative analysis, because in one more sense, this is different from the qualitative quantitative approach, and that sense is about sample size. That question is about sample size. Quantitative analysis, quantitative studies are having very, very large sample sizes, whereas qualitative analysis does not have this much of large. Generally, I'll show you some of the papers. Kiran ma'am, please mute yourself if you do not have any question.
Yeah. I would request participants to please mute yourself, otherwise
I'm taking all the questions from the chat box. Don't worry. You can post your question into the chat box. I'll be taking all the questions. Like if you want to understand a research question, you want to answer a research question rather than testing a hypothesis, qualitative analysis is a better way. Examine the perception, the action, the feelings of the participants. I've just given you one example of one has just passed the 12th, another one has appointed as a government job, the third one has appointed an IPS. These three must be very happy, but one of them is not happy. And you know why they are not happy. So feelings are more important. On the record, again, they cannot say they are not happy. So in case of qualitative researches, it is not only the verbatims. In case of qualitative analysis, it is non-verbal cues also. I'll discuss in detail when we'll be talking about quotes and notes. With the help of NVO, when we'll be talking about these quotes and notes, we'll be discussing about how to record non-verbal cues when you will be transcribing the material. So you need to obtain detailed information from interviews, content analysis, and observations. And this content analysis I find is very interesting. You need not to look at for any interview. You need not to look at for one of my friend was doing a analysis of newspaper advertisement. The newspaper was Times of India, and the advertisement, the classified advertisement was not any advertisement. The advertisement was from the Times XN, where generally you'll find the advertisement, the classified ads for job opportunities, for career development, for these kind of jobs. And she was doing a research based on this. And she was trying to understand what is the main content when employer wants to put their ad. Which type of ads are most effective, are more effective in terms of memory? Which type of ads are lesser effective in terms of memory? So when these types of questions I have, these types of questions I have, this content analysis will help you. And somebody was asking about the biases. This content analysis is less biases if I'm taking secondary sources, written sources, and yes, if the written sources are biased, I cannot, or the software cannot help you. Say, for example, you want to understand the mystery behind the death of Subhash Chandra Bose. Though there are lots of documents, the government has already generated a lots of documents. This content analysis will not be able to help, right? So we need to understand the bias is a nature of society. One of my teacher was teaching me quantitative approach, and we were trying to fit the model on AMOS. When I asked him, sir, we need to remove some outliers. So he said, do you think why you need to remove outliers? Just to fit a model, you need to remove outliers because, sorry, don't you think outliers are available into the society? And we need to generalize this question to the society. We need to generalize this model to the society. We can go for more data collection. We can go for other. This is the different school of thought. Somebody will say that removing every outlier is the essence of structural equation modeling. Somebody will say, one of my teacher was saying, please, you can remove the missing data. You can remove the ill-filtered questionnaire, but you should not remove the outliers, because outliers are the one which will help you in generalizing your data, generalizing your model. This could be another thought, just for another thought. This we'll discuss later, I think. What is the difference into the qualitative? Okay, there are several questions in the chat box. I think simultaneously Shalini ma'am will be able to help me to handle the questions of recording or questions on data or questions on this. So I'll not be taking those questions.
Yes, sir, I will be taking care of that.
Thank you. One of the question from Alexa. Sir, content analysis can be done on question and answer data from Quora or Medium. Yes, that's a very impressive idea. Content analysis based on Quora, yes, that could be done. And you have given me an idea how to, third day, we'll be taking some examples of Facebook or other social medias. We'll be taking one example of Quora also. Quora. Yeah, Dr. Lopamudra is having a question. If you are not generalizing, then how it will be useful? See, ma'am, the essence of research is generalizing. The essence of research is generalizing. If you are not generalizing, then there is no need of research. I believe you understand. If you're not generalizing, if I'm not able to say that with the help of job satisfaction, you will be able to increase organizational commitment, then what is the why I'm doing this research? So generalizing is the essence of research, and that's true. Most of the time, generalizing is the most difficult part of the research. So we need to understand how this could be more generalizable. And the best tool for making it generalizable, you need to look at, there are 3-4 very popular books on CMB, Common Method Bias. If you go through those, I think they'll be more helpful in understanding how to handle the questions of generalization. And most importantly, not the questions of generalization, most importantly, question of reviewer, how you are going to generalize it, right? So before moving for qualitative, what is the difference in qualitative and quantitative research is? The objective of qualitative research is to gain understanding of underlying reason. Somebody was saying they wanted to, she wanted to identify the factors, right? Factors. And in the quantitative analysis, the quantitative data to generalize the result. And that is why you might be able to recall several recent, very recent webinars you have attended. Most of them are insisting, most of the research journals, most of them are insisting to use mixed method. I'm sorry if you're not able to read it, but it is mixed. So most of the researches, most of the research journals, most of the senior academicians are talking about mixed method of research. So you can combine the methods of qualitative research and the methods of quantitative research, and this will help you to publish into a better journals. qualitative researches they are having objective of prevalent trends and the trend into their thoughts, the trend into their opinion. Sometimes followed by qualitative research, which is used to explore some findings further. So, and this is a still very long debate. The qualitative is first or quantitative is first. In most of the researches, qualitative is used as a first tool. With the help of qualitative researches, they have identified the important themes, they have identified the important contents, they have identified the important material. Then they have gone for the skill development and other sources. But there is a good school of thought which belongs to this one also. They completed one quantitative method approach first, and then they said these are the results which are similar to qualitative, and they have verified their results with the help of qualitative research. This one is a still long debate, which one should be used first. Let's talk about sample. The qualitative researches generally work with a small number of non-representative cases, whereas quantitative use a large number of cases, and they are representing the population of interest. But in case of qualitative, the representation of population is not needed. The approach is important. Whether I am able to identify, whether I am able to see that person or not, because I have to take an interview and I have to record that interview, and later on I have to type that interview. Data analysis, most of the data analysis is non-statistical, most of the data analysis is statistical. That everyone knows. I need not to discuss on this, what type of data analysis is this. And the last thing is about example of qualitative is focus group, in-depth interviews, the group discussions. And in case of quantitative researches, we use surveys, we use simulation, we use questionnaires, we use other methods of data collection. And observation method, I personally find is very, very challenging. If you are using observation method, then you have to move to the qualitative research. So observation method is very challenging to be used with the help of this. Okay, again, there are few questions. Yes. Sample size is a question. This we will be discussing in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we have a discussion on sample sizes. Ashuji is having a question. Many experts still doubts on the qualitative effectiveness. Can you comment on this? And your question is having the answer of this. Many experts still doubt about the qualitative effectiveness. Yes, that's true. But believe me, most of the quantitative methods, most of the research methods are result of the qualitative analysis. I'll not comment further on this because we have already said many experts even they are not clear about which one is better. Okay, Dr. Vinita, can we bring out factors through qualitative analysis and then generalize those factors with the help of quantitative analysis? Yes, that can be done. But I personally recommend do not limit this research only up to the factors. I believe there is a video on my YouTube channel from where you have seen this method, from where you have seen this how to download NVivo. There is a video on modern practices of research, and there is an introduction of several researches like ISM, like AHP, and other sources also. So do not limit yourself up to the factor analysis only. Limit yourself AHP, ISM, and identify which factor is dependent and which factor is independent. Use ISM, that will be the better way to identify. Generally, after factor analysis, with the help of conceptual knowledge, we say job satisfaction is independent and we say organizational commitment is dependent. With the help of other questions, with the help of other studies, we need to understand which one is dependent in this case. Which one is dependent in this case. And for identifying which one is dependent and which one is independent, there is a tool which is known as ISM, Interpretive Structural Modeling. If you are not using this tool and you are doing this study first time, believe me, if you are doing it if you are identifying dependent and independent tools, independent factors or variables, this is must. In absence of this, you cannot do this. Okay. Please do comment on triangulation method. Right now, I should not comment on triangulation method. This will do tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow. Yeah, Ashuji, there is a long debate on this. Right. So this is the overview of qualitative researches. We need to understand what you are interested in. The characteristic of the language. If you are interested in characteristic of the language, and the characteristic is divided in two forms, one as a communication, another one as a culture. If you are interested in communication, that communication does have a content analysis. If you're looking at communication, what were the contents into that communication? Like documents from KGB, documents from ISI, documents from any other sources. Documents, research paper based on brand tribalism, research paper based on brand love. What is their content? What is their important keywords? What is their theme? And if you think this communication is a process, then discourse analysis is a better way to understand. And if it is a process, then ethnography in communication is a better way. I believe there are lots of terms. Yeah, I believe there are lots of terms which you will be hearing first time. There are lots of terms which you will be seeing, which you will be able to see first time. There are lots of ways. There are lots of. We need to understand. Say, for example, I'm interested in culture. I'll go to the stories. I'll go to the narratives. I'll go to the discourse analysis and other ways. Like this one. This one is next tree. If I'm interested, after the discovery of regulations, if I'm interested in disconcerting of pattern, maybe hermeneutics are more important way. The holistic ethnography, the phenomenography. Like you might be able to see some of the names which you are seeing first time. The event structure analysis, the grounded theory. These are the names of tools. These are the names of different methods. Which tool, which method, which application to be used. This qualitative analysis is as vast as quantitative analysis. And this is what we have already had a discussion on this. This is the irony of Indian education system. We have lots of papers on quantitative ways, the statistics and other ways. But I personally believe we should have a subject, we should have a class, we should have a course based on qualitative analysis. And one very primary concern, one very primary introspect, let us introspect before moving to the qualitative analysis of research. One should be good at language part. I'm sorry. One should be good at language part. Because in case of qualitative analysis, you do not have lots of tables of t-test, of ANOVA test. I'm not criticizing them, please. Do not understand that I'm criticizing quantitative method. I published up to A-star category journals with the help of quantitative analysis. But my target or anyone's target is not to publication. The target is to understand, the decipher this phenomena properly. So if you're not good in language part, you'll not be like, in case of quantitative analysis, after a table you can write this is what the meaning of t-test, and this is what the significant value, this is what Darwin-Watson is showing, this is what residuals are showing, and this is what, after writing about 4 or 5 lines based on tables, you need to write 2-3 lines, and sometimes maybe lesser than that. You might have seen lots of papers, sometimes maybe lesser than that, which is written about the table. Which are the lines which are insightful, the lines which you have written by your own capabilities. But in case of qualitative research, you have to be indulged a lot. You have to deep dive. You have to go for a deep dive, and deep diving is not possible without understanding of language. So either you should be good at language, or your collaborator, your co-author should be good at language. You'll be doing all the things methodologically, technically, you know what is right and what is wrong, and your collaborator will do everything for you. At least one of them should be good in language. Then only you will be able to understand, you will be able to decipher this. Otherwise, this will be very, very challenging because you do not have much stuff to write. You have a simple one graph, you have a one table or something, just very smaller piece of demonstration. And you have to write for one table, you have to write about 2 long pages. So in that way, it is very critical to understand. Okay, so the qualitative analysis, we'll be discussing these one by one in next few slides. And these are the important tools, these are the important analysis. Like thematic analysis is maybe the part of analysis of discourse, maybe the part of phenomenology, maybe the part of narratives. Content analysis is again the part of this one. Grounded theory. Sentiment analytics are more about ethnography, phenomenology, framework analysis sometimes. Text analysis is based on analysis of discourse, based on narratives, based on framework analysis, based on grounded theory, based on ethnography, based on phenomenology. Image analytics is about everything of these. Video analytics is about everything of these. But I personally recommend video analysis. We should refrain out of video analysis because we do not get into the Indian context. I'm not saying every context. Into the Indian context, we will not get the sufficient data. And when you will not get the sufficient data, or when you will get the distorted data, your video analytics will be wastage of time. So I will show you how to do video analytics. So please don't worry for that. Image analytics is a good way to analyze. What could be the ways of using image analytics? Let me type those material for you. What can be done with the help of image analytics? You can compare the advertisement. You can compare, like one of our example, one of our project is based on spirituality. We have asked our respondent, can you please submit for about 5 or 10 pictures which you have taken on your spiritual tourism. They have submitted about 5 to 10 spiritual, 5 to 10 images, their personal images based on their travel journey, based on their spiritual tour. And the thing which we have identified, most of the spiritual journeys photograph was having water. The second priority after water was Greenland. And surprisingly, the third priority was given to a temple. Right? These things could be insightful for anyone. Like if you are doing image analytics, if you are understanding image analytics, this could help you. So let us understand these tests one by one, because these will be the most important parts. Therefore, today we'll be spending more part on theory. From tomorrow, we will be spending all the part towards the practical. And today also, we will look at some hands-on exposure. But we need to understand what is analysis of discourse, what is the narratives, what is the framework analysis, then we'll move further. If you do not know, if you will not be able to understand these basics of qualitative researches, what qualitative research is about, then probably it will be very challenging for you, like what you are doing here. And this is what I personally believe is a difference in this workshop and other workshops. This is not a simple demonstration of a software. After attending this workshop, you will be able to understand what a good paper of qualitative research, should have and should not have. So this is what analysis of discourse. This is what is analysis of discourse. Can you see this figure? This is just an example for you. Analysis is discourse is beyond the sentences. Deciphering what I am saying and what I actually mean to say. Like, I'll give you a very simple example. When one visits my house, I want to ask, you want to take a tea? Or I may also ask, like, have you taken tea just before? Like, probably who belongs to the Hindi language, they might be able to understand the difference. Chai piyoge and chai pee ke aaye ho kya? So what is beyond the sentences, what is being said and what is being not said. So analysis of discourse is getting importance nowadays. Earlier analysis of discourse does not have a very long history. This is very new in terms of all other tools, because we need to understand the analysis of beyond the sentences, the analysis of language, what one actually said, what one actually intended to communicate. Discourse analysis study the larger chunks of language as they flow together. Some discourse analysts consider the larger discourse context in order to understand how it affects and the meaning of the sentences, what I said and what I actually mean. Just for example, what is the context? I'll just write this way. Okay. So whether it is a context or it is into the text, it is a critical approach of the theory or it is a constructivist approach of the theory. Which theory I'm looking at here? If I'm having more text or I'm having more context, I'm having more material to analyze, or I'm having more material to analyze, or I'm having lesser material to analyze, but the context become more important. Probably the interviewer, I asked, sir, how are you feeling after this encounter? Like, I can ask, how are you feeling after the encounter of Vikas Dubey, the national news of today? So what do you think? In case of encounter, the text is important or context is important? You might have seen other movies from Bollywood. Movie of Nana Patekar, Ab Tak Chappan, and other movies based on encounter or other movies based on these type of plots. The text is important or context is important. So we need to understand what type of discourse analysis is needed. If you find that context is important and the constructive context is critical, the critical discourse analysis is needed. If you find the context is important and the context is constructivist, then interpretive structuralism is more important. If you find the text is more available, and then socially linguistic analysis is considered. If you find the text is available but the text is more critical, the critical linguistic analysis is needed. So you need to identify which is more suitable platform. You need to identify which is more suitable tool. Okay. Okay, so there is people are asking about what is critical. I'll give you one example on the critical. You might have a few friends. Day before yesterday, I was discussing something with my friend. I was talking to one of my friend, and I asked him, like, do you know I'm taking physiotherapy nowadays? He said, from where you are taking physiotherapy? I said, there is one neighboring physiotherapist from where he said, I'll tell you the best doctor of the city. You'll visit him. You should visit him. He's the best doctor of the city. I said, the best doctor is about 15 kilometers far from my house. The best doctor is 15 kilometers far from my house. This will take about 2 liters of the petrol in my car. Yes. This will take. He said he'll charge less. My present physiotherapist is charging about 250 per visit, and he said the best doctor of the city charges only 150 rupees. So I have to spend about for traveling this 15 kilometers. I have to spend about 40-45 minutes from one side. I have to spend about 1 liter petrol from one side. What is, the friend was more critical because he wanted to look for a best doctor. He wanted to look for the best quality. But in that case, I am considered most constructivist because I saved money. I saved fuel, I saved time. And why I am able to do so? Why I am able to do so? Because I find I was not critical at that point. When I find I'm not critical at that point, I'm saving everything. What is the context in this case? Again, let me give you one example. Like say, I want to analyze the stories of Robert Frost. Those who studied with the CBSE medium, they might be able to recall the Robert Frost. The text is available, but context, nobody knows. Because when you are in a school, context were missing. Context were missing because we have to memorize the poem. We have to memorize different other things which are related, which you might have observed sometimes are not related to the poem, but you have to memorize all of them. So in that case, text is available. But in case of a teacher, if you are a teacher and you want to understand the Robert Frost, if you are doing MA in psychology, if you are doing in MA literature, then I was seeing one of the PhD in MA English literature. He did PhD only on the one essay of Shakespeare. What is the effect of one particular essay of Shakespeare? So for them, text is not much important. For them, context is much important. I believe everyone will be able to is able to understand the idea. What are the 4 different types of analysis of discourse? This is a very important tool. Nowadays, is getting very important. Narratives. When I'm not interested, what do you feel? When I'm interested, when I'm more interested in, what is your experience? You have stayed in that particular hotel. The participants from tourism and hospitality area, they'll be able to understand what is the storyline. How was your experience with particular hotel? How was your experience with particular destination? When you find the storytelling becomes more important. These are known as reviews nowadays. These are known as reviews nowadays. This is storytelling. What is your experience out of this? Narrative inquiry is the process of gathering information for a specific purpose. What do you think? What is your experience? What is your opinion? What is your fallacy? When you talk about these things, your experience, your narrative, which are related to participatory or your own stories, and those narrative must have been asked after the inquiry. Like I'm not talking about those who are telling me their stories, even I'm not interested in their story. I'm interested in their story. Their inquiry, somebody always finds out something useful about something, yes. And this was a narrative to explore values, belief, feeling, and perspective. And this was a participatory narrative, their own story. I'm not considering how was your experience when you faced a road accident. It is not a story. It is not a story of others. I cannot share how my friend has how my friend has felt when he or she has observed a road accident. Only I can share my things. What I can share? I can share my things only. How I felt, like, what was my opinion, what was my feelings when I faced a road accident. So this is known as PNI, participatory narrative inquiry. participatory narrative inquiry. These Connell and Clendenin in 1990s, they have defined that humans are a storytelling organism, and that's true. When you are late to office, your boss asks you, you tell a story. When you are late for a meeting and one of your friend was waiting maybe at a restaurant, maybe at a roadside corner, or maybe any other place, you tell a story to them. When your kids ask, Dad, why you are late, you tell a story to them. In any situation, you tell a story. So, humans are a storytelling organism who individually and collectively lead storied lives. Individually and collectively. So I may learn from my stories, from my experience, or I may also learn from others' stories also, from others' experiences also. So this is what a difference in narrative and discourse. Discourse is about what is more important for you, what is available for you. But in case of narratives, what is your experience? How did you felt at one particular situation? How did you felt when you have attended one particular class? Say, for example, giving a feedback form after a class, after each class is easy. You'll have to put them based on 1 to 5, strongly unhappy to strongly happy. But putting them into the form of a story, say, for example, I'll give you only one question that you have to write about 100 words after every day's class. I'll give you only one question, but you have to write about 100 words only. But you will find telling the story becomes easy, but writing the story becomes difficult. These are known as narratives or narrative analysis in case of qualitative. Yes. Then there is a framework analysis. Framework analysis we'll discuss in much detail in tomorrow's class. Is a qualitative method aptly suited to applied policy research. Framework analysis is, I have applied something, say for example, I have applied a rule that after 10 minutes, nobody can enter in my class. After 10 minutes, nobody can enter in my class. This is a rule. I made this rule, and after about 10 days, I'll inquire this. How did you felt? How many of them are how many of them are on time? I even need not to ask them. I need not to even put them this question. But I can observe. Say before, when I made this rule that after 10 minutes of starting my class, nobody can enter, you'll find within a week, most of them are on time. But before 1 week, most of them were not on time. Okay, there are several questions. Okay, I'll handle each question, don't worry. You can put your question into this chat box and I'll read each question and will make you understand this. Okay, but framework analysis is generally solves a specific, generally helps us in a specific question. A limited time framework. You might be able to recall if some of you have written some literature review based paper, you might be able to recall these framework, EDO, TMCC or TCCM, like, or maybe a W framework. There are lots of framework. In case of TCCM, the theory, the concept, the context, and the method. These 4 things becomes very important for me. In case of qualitative analysis, the specific question, what question I'm looking for, limited time period. I want to understand the students' phenomena during the COVID-19. I'm having a specific question and I'm also having a limited time frame. A pre-designed sample is needed. You cannot design you cannot design your sample later into the framework analysis. And a prior issue must be first. You cannot decide your issue later. So the problem must be first. Yeah, the full form of this: theory, construct, concept, context, and method. Theory, construct, concept, context, and method. So the issue should be first the issue should be in your hand. You cannot decide the issue later. Say for example, I'll just collect the data, whatever data is available to me, and then I say I'll decide the issue, I'll decide the challenge. So before that, so that is why here is the process of framework analysis. The first thing which I need to perform is familiarization. I need to understand the data. What is the problem with me? And then I need to construct a thematic framework. That my framework is around these many settings. Then I'll talk about indexing and sorting. Indexing and sorting, like what type of data is available to me. I need to index the data into the form of codes. In terms of, codes into the form of nodes, right? I need to classify the data. In case of quantitative analysis, we classify the data with the help of demographics table, like these many male and females we have, like these much, this one income group belongs to our sample. There are lots of questions into the demographic, their income group, their family size, their gender, their travel companion. There are lots of things which you can include into the quantitative method. But in case of qualitative method, those are considered not the framework, not the indexing and sorting base, the codes and the nodes. And we'll also discuss tomorrow. We'll also discuss the difference between codes and nodes. Nodes are a bigger tree, are the bigger branch, where our codes are the specific things. And we'll also discuss, we need to discuss the data summary and display. This we'll discuss tomorrow, data summary, when we'll be focusing on data coding and mapping and interpretation. This is more of visualization, mapping and interpretation of the data. This is more of visualization. And this will take our largest time of the workshop, the grounded theory. You might be able to see the data first. Then you can see after the data, I have analyzed the data, I was sorting with this data and converted this data into the theory. And that is why I say the grounded theory is an inductive approach. That is why I always say the grounded theory is an inductive approach. Why it is inductive? What comes first is the data, is the example. What comes next is the theory. You can see here, the first is example and the second is theory. Examples comes first, theory comes second. And this approach is known as inductive theory. When you find the example first and the theory is later, this is known as inductive. When you find your theory is first and now this is how your examples and this is how your cases should look like, that kind of approach will be known as deductive approach. You might be able to recall the examples of CID and Crime Patrol, the two very popular television shows on Sony. Can you tell me into the chat box, CID is having inductive approach or Crime Patrol is having inductive approach? Both is having inductive approach. Okay, Kunal Patil ji is saying like CID is having inductive approach. Crime Patrol. Can you justify, any one of you can, one for CID and one for Crime Patrol? Which one is inductive approach? Please raise your hand, I'll unmute you. Okay, Ashutosh Kumar ji raise hand, please unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Inductive approach, I think it should be a CID and the theory should be Crime Patrol.
No, inductive theory for CID or for Crime Patrol?
inductive theory for CID.
CID. Why?
Because inductive theory in this we have to go step by step. We have to reveal the things accordingly to the event or the evidences we got through.
Okay. And one can please unmute yourself for deductive theory. 2 participants have raised their hand. Please unmute yourself if you are not speaking. Anyone, please unmute yourself and can tell me which one is why crime patrol is considered inductive.
Hello.
Sir, crime patrol, according to me, is the inductive because they have taken the, the crime then as a data, and then they produce it like a. That's why I guess it is a inductive approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What already happened, they took it as the data. Then after that, they represent it. That's why according
crime has already happened in both the way. Whether you see CID, whether you see crime patrol.
But sir, how they represent in crime patrol, the way they represent, what according to me, they took the data, what already happened, and then they represent it. That's why I think, but in CID, they reveal it.
Yes. You might be able to recall the incidences when ACP Pradyum says, "Daya, dal mein kuch kala hai." This approach is known as inductive theory. You might be able to recall, this is very popular sentence. In fact, lots of memes are available on this. Daya, right hand move karte hue aur wo jo style mein bolte hain, Daya, dal mein kuch to kala hai. This is known as inductive because they see first, last time, or maybe their experience, or maybe their years of experience, or maybe their knowledge says that this knife could not be put it into this way if the person has cut it his throat by himself. So this is known as inductive. This is known as the example first, then the theory. In terms of crime patrol, what happens? Their policemen and their participants, or those who are witnessing the crime, those who are facing the crime, they all together faces this uncover the crime mystery. So that is why actually both are inductive, but in case of CID, we can understand very clearly which incident is inductive. The case first, the theory later. Like the grounded theory actually ideate the theory-free starting point. The grounded theory, the theory-free starting point. You have to start with the story. You have to start with the point. Like this is what is already the case. This is how the patients are reacting into the quarantine center. This is what they are doing. The case is first, then they develop a theory. Like they find we do not have sufficient spaces. They have started making them home quarantine. The case is first. Like you might be able to recall the incidences from demonetization. If you are able to recall the incidences from demonetization, you'll be able to see somebody has booked the tickets of train of about rupees 1 lakh and cancel the next day, and he has to find a refund. He has to get a refund of about 98,000 from Indian Railways, and Indian Railways does not have this much of money in new currency. So the very next day, the central ministry or the central government has come up with a rule. Now nobody can book more than 2 tickets, or nobody can book the tickets costing more than 5,000 or 10,000. So the case first, the theory or the rule last. This type of, whenever you find that this is a policy which is made upon the case, this is inductive approach. Whenever you find, like say for the opposite one, the deductive theory, you find the government has started allowing you the tax-free income is 1.5 lakhs. You start saving 1.5 lakhs. Earlier you were saving 1 lakh rupees because government was allowing only 1 lakh as a tax-free income. But government has made a change into the policy, and now they say like you can save up to 1.5 lakh, and we have started saving 1.5 lakh. No, I'm in opposition of this theory, but the question is, one of my friend was saying, we have to save this time 1.5 lakh, the government has made rule. They are not forcing you to save 1.5 lakh. It is your wish. You want to save 1.5 lakh because they have made a policy. So that's a different deductive way. If you look at, if you want to look at the second example of this. So Glasser and Strauss. Okay, we have discussed a lots of things, but we have not discussed the names of two very popular scientists, Glasser and Strauss. And in 1960s, actually, they were the academician, they were the professor into a nursing college. They are the professors into a nursing college, and they are facing a lots of patients every day. They are facing lots of problem with their nurses who are treating, the sisters who are treating those patients. So they have come up with a new idea, how they are feeling, what are their feelings, what are their emotions. They have come up with a new idea which is known as discovery of, they have written a book which is known as Discovery of Grounded Theory. The book was published in 1967, but actually the theory they have come up into the starting of 1960s. It comprises a methodological approach rather than analytic or coding strategy. So this is less about analytics. This is more about methodological approach. They introduced an interactive approach. Interactive approach means interview-based approach of data collection and analysis. And this grounded theory uses the constant comparative method. Grounded theory uses constant comparative method. Means I'll be comparing one participant with the second one. I'll be comparing second participant with the third one. I'll be comparing third participant with the fourth one. So say for example, for first participant, pain was up to until and unless one has to take painkiller, this is not a pain. For the second participant, as they start feeling any pain in their knees or in their hands, they start asking to their kids, can you please press here? Can you please do this? Can you please do that? This is known as constant comparison scale, constant comparison methods. I'll be comparing. This is not comparison of one with others. This is not comparison of one with others. This is comparison of one with two, two with three, three with four, likewise. This is known as constant comparative method in case of grounded theory. I believe we have put it a lots of time into theory part, but allow me another 5-7 minutes when we'll discuss each and everything. I'll let you know. I'll let you go through the hands-on part of NVivo. Because if you do not know these names of these analysis, why they are called in this way, probably we'll be missing some of the part. So thematic analysis is a method of, again, a qualitative analysis. It is usually applied to the sets of data, such as interview transcripts. Again, the researcher closely examines the data to identify the common themes, the common topics, the common activities, the common practices, the topics, the ideas, and the patterns of meaning of those. And repeatedly, this way. So qualitative start with the coding. When I have code, the iterative comparisons, one with others, then second with others, then third with others, and now we have themes with us. This is the way how we come up with different themes into the thematic analysis. Ethnography is actually from where we have the sources of our customers. If it is a marketing study, if it is a tourism study, from where we have most of the tourists. So the goal of the ethnography is go native, in-depth understanding of the culture. Who are they? Generate rich and detailed social accounts. Rich and detailed social accounts. In that way, these are the three important goals. And focus on culture and values. Say for example, in northern side of India, my objective is not to criticize any practice, not to criticize any value. So please take them in form of example only. Northern part of India used to eat rice and pulses with the help of a spoon. But if you go to the southern part of India, you will find most of them would like to, maybe because of movies of South shows me this. That is why I understand most of the participants, most of the movie scenes in the South, they might be having very rich house. They might be having a bigger size of bungalow, but they will be eating rices by their hands, not with the help of a spoon. Maybe movies are showing me this. So this is what I need to understand, the difference into the culture, the difference into the values. The main techniques is participant observation. Again, the interview. Fieldwork is, yes, holistic, comparative, and contextual. So these are the three different terms which we'll be discussing through ethnography. Methods of ethnography. And the final product is in-depth description of group's life. In-depth description of group's life. Group of my target. Life is, what is my object? So these are the things which I am considering more important in case of ethnography. Ethnography and the systematic study of individual's culture. The contrast with ethnology. Ethnography explore culture's phenomena, the point of view of the subject of the study. What is more interesting to understand? What is more curious to know? Why they are doing in this way? Why they are eating on the banana leaves? Why we are eating on the plates? One was asking, I don't know, any of you will be able to answer why the people in Rajasthan or people in those where you find less water areas, you will find they eat more spicy food. There are lots of questions. When I want to understand this, this is known as ethnography. What are their cultures? What are their values? These are the things before looking at ethnography. Phenomenology. I may see this cup as a cup, but how my participant is seeing this as a cup. This is known as phenomenology. I'm seeing it in this way. How others are seeing it. Edmund Husserl in the 20th century. Again, this is very new to the qualitative analysis. Is a philosophical study of the structure of experiences and more importantly about consciousness. You might be able to recall one very popular example, very popular studies from Inkbolt. Studies of Inkbolt. Do you remember that Inkbolt? Sorry, Inkblot, not bolt. My mistake. What that scientist has started, that scientist had put it ink, any random way, folded that paper and shown it to different people. Different people have seen different shapes in that same way, in that same diagram, in that same page. This could be also an example of phenomenology, how people are seeing this. I may find it. Say for example, you might be able to recall the test. Say for example, one will ask you one word answer. What do you think? What do you perceive about red? One will answer, when I look at red, when I see it red, I feel the first word came into my mind is love. Another one can see blood. Another one can see war. Another one can see morning sun. Another one can see rose flower. These are known as phenomenology, how others are perceiving it. What is my way of perceiving is a different thing. But what is other way of perceiving is a different thing. Yes, admin, Rorschach's Inkblot test. Okay, one participant is asking for a 5 to 10 minutes break.
Yes, so we actually have it. So I was just about to request you the same.
Okay, I'll just finish this theory part and we'll give you a break.
Sure, sir.
Okay, so before looking at some real world example, I've just finished it. So we can go for a break.